morning to you all.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's not easy for me. I'm a deputy governor to speak after my governor. But I really want to thank you, Governor Johannes. He allowed me not to pronounce his other name, which is not too easy for me. But what I love about Governor's speech, which has just ended, is that we are hearing about digital transformation from a practical perspective in Namibia. We actually sent ourselves at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe a team to go and study the case of our own in Southern Africa in the SADC region. And I'm happy to announce that yesterday, Governor from Namibia and the Governor of the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, Dr. Mangudya, signed an MOU for Zimbabwe to learn from Namibia about digital transformation in our case. So it's a great thing that we are now learning from each other. And as he said, the AFI Global Forum is coming to Namibia, it's coming to Southern Africa. So it's again a great opportunity for us to learn about financial inclusion. Let me go back to my official salutations and the speech. Minister of Information, Communication Technology, Postal and Courier Services in Zimbabwe, Honorable Tatenda Mabetera, we understand she's on her way. Your Excellency, Ambassador of the Republic of Rwanda in Zimbabwe, Honorable James Musoni, Governor of the Bank of Namibia, Mr. Johannes Gawasha, representatives from the Zimbabwe Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion, Executive Director of the Association of Microfinance Institutions in Rwanda, financial sector regulators here present, distinguished representatives from 11 countries, I understand, across Africa, you heard them, and from Europe, which is France, North Macedonia, and Armenia. Representatives from SNG events supporting this event, the chairperson of the Zimbabwe Association of Microfinance Institutions, ZAMFI, Mr. Saul Chinganga, the ZAMFI board members here present, Executive Director of Zimbabwe Association of Microfinance Institutions, Mr. Godfrey Chitambo, Chief Executive Officers of Microfinance Institutions here present, Financial Inclusion Implementers and Innovation Partners here present, representatives from universities and the tertiary institutions here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by saying to all our guests from beyond the borders, a very warm welcome to Zimbabwe, to Harare in particular. We are a nation of breathtaking landscape, rich cultural diversity, a country where nature's wonders meet human resilience and creativity, and home to a warm and hospitable people. I hope I have described Zimbabwe well and you have experienced it. I hope some of you will be able to take time after the summit to enjoy our scenic views in the Eastern Highlands and the Victoria Falls, one of the 7 wonders of the world. So don't just end with microfinance. See the beautiful country that we have. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Governor of the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, Dr. John Mangudya, to welcome all of you to the 3rd Microfinance Technology Summit of 2025 here in Harare. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate SNG Events, Amir and ZAMFI for organizing such an event which has brought together various stakeholders connected by digitalization of the microfinance industry including fintech companies, mobile money operators, our MNOs, the academia, even industry and commerce. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a privilege to stand before you today and share some of our insights on a subject that has demonstrated the power to transform lives, strengthen economies, and propel the financial inclusion agenda. As we look at the theme unlocking the future of financial inclusion through technology. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to start by defining what I have found to be the most two confused and interchanged terminologies in the area of digital transformation. I'm sure you hear these terms when I say them out: digitization and digitalization. Everywhere I go, where the digital transformation agenda is being spoken about, I live confused. You don't know, are they talking digitization or digitalization? So, in preparing our speech, we said maybe this is the opportunity so that we are together. We know what it is that we are really talking about. We checked briefly on computer, what do these two terms mean? Here is what we found. Digitization refers to the process of converting analog data into digital format. For example, scanning documents, recording audios, recording videos, and so on. That's digitization. I'm not going to concentrate on that today. Digitalization is really what we are talking about in this summit. And what is its definition? It involves integration. This is what the governor was talking about. Integration of digital technologies to transform and optimize business processes, improve workflows, and leverage on data for better outcomes, enhance customer experience, and drive innovation. So, thank you. My remarks, the opening speech which I am giving you, is going to be addressing largely digitalization, the second one whose definition I read. And I think that's what Governor from Namibia was talking about, digitalization. Digitalization is truly a game changer in the financial inclusion space, breaking down the traditional barriers associated with financial services and providing unprecedented opportunities for everyone, but particularly for the marginalized and underserved, to fully exploit economic opportunities and improve their livelihoods. Over the years, microfinance has remained a beacon of hope to the low-income and the marginalized populations, facilitating active participation in economic activities through provision of small but impactful financial services to the otherwise financially excluded. Microfinance has traditionally been instrumental in supporting micro, small, and medium enterprises, women, youth, rural smallholder farmers all over Africa, and rural populations in general. Micro, small, and medium enterprises are the backbone of Zimbabwe's economy, contributing more than 60% of the country's GDP. So this sector is very, very important to us, and our financial inclusion is targeted at those groups. Let me talk a few points around the future of microfinance in the digital era. Ladies and gentlemen, digitalization holds the key to unlocking the full potential, as Governor said, of microfinance, as the microfinance sector leverages on the digital tools to enhance not only accessibility and efficiency, but impactful outreach and effectiveness. In this regard, digitalization is poised to transform the microfinance sector from a brick-and-mortar that we have always used into a dynamic digital ecosystem driven by mobile and other digital financial technologies, promising to drive financial inclusion to unprecedented levels. Allow me to acknowledge that as a country, Zimbabwe has witnessed a transformation in the financial services sector with the introduction of mobile money, plastic money in the form of the cards that we used to swipe all over, and mobile money platforms. And we have several of them, the main one being EcoCash. We also have One Money, we have what is called Inbox, we have MyCash, we have IceCash, and many others I didn't even track. Making access to finance a reality to the majority, as well as significantly reducing dependence on physical banking infrastructure to access finance. The value propositions from digitalization of microfinance are multiple, accruing to both the microfinance institutions as well as the microfinance clients. And these include, number one, operational efficiency, which is adoption of technology by microfinance institutions presents opportunities for reducing operational costs and administrative overheads while ensuring affordable products and services to clients. Digitalization is providing the potential for scaling up sustainable microfinance and addressing the persistent challenges of client over-indebtedness and high credit risk in the industry. Number two, enhance the risk management. Machine learning technologies and artificial intelligence is set to introduce unprecedented capabilities in risk assessment and loan underwriting that can be dramatically improving both customer experience and institutional risk management. This will also facilitate improved credit risk management and lower default rates in the microfinance sector. Number three, enhance the data-driven decision-making, which Governor touched on. Analytics using alternative data sources, including mobile phone usage patterns, utility payments risks history, social media activity, and transaction behaviors, can be used to create sophisticated credit scores for individuals who lack traditional credit history in finance, and is expected to enhance credit assessments and facilitate access to financial services to traditionally excluded segments of the population. So we are saying with technology, we can use other databases. We don't need to have known the client. The history that they have elsewhere will help us to disburse our loans safely. Extraction of data from alternative sources is a game changer in our economies in Africa, where the target segments for microfinance institutions operate in informal economies and lack conventional credit documents and conventional collateral. Let me move on to the development of a sustainable financial ecosystem. Governor touched on this one, but it's always important to emphasize the key things. Digital innovations will facilitate the integration of microfinance with other digital services to create comprehensive financial ecosystems that serve multiple needs through integrated platforms. Digitalization creates opportunities for microfinance institutions to develop platforms that combine microfinance, insurance, savings, payment services, e-commerce, and other value-added services in seamless user experiences that make financial services more convenient and accessible than ever before. Number 6 advantage, cross-border digital financial services. We are noting that from the regulatory point of view, the emergence of cross-border and international remittance services, some of them Governor mentioned, by microfinance institutions, bridging the gap between formal and informal financial services is a key move. And we hope that in Africa, because of our free trade scenario which we now have in the continent, this will come in very handy, to have platforms under which we can trade across our countries without needing the US dollar. And financial inclusion will be deepened. Thank you. On the part of the consumers of financial products, digitalization facilitates convenience and proximity to financial services, which in turn will contribute significantly to increase the uptake and sustainable usage of financial services. Let me move on to challenges of digitalization of the microfinance sector. It's not all rosy, many advantages, yes, but we have to be wary of the negative side that we can also encounter. Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to navigate the frontiers of digitalization in microfinance, we need to be aware of the potential consumer protection issues that innovation is ushering in, and be able to take proactive action to ensure we maintain the trust and confidence that the consuming public has in the financial services sector. Digitalization and the digital financial literacy are closely interconnected in shaping a more inclusive and efficient financial system. In this regard, financial literacy should be one of the key focus areas to ensure that technology does not become another source of financial inclusion. I'm sure many of us have heard about the terminology of the digital divide. It can be rural areas versus urban areas, the elderly versus the youngsters, men versus women. But if we take digital financial literacy seriously, financial inclusion will move without creating another problem of exclusion. Many potential clients, particularly in the rural areas and among older demographics, lack the technical skills necessary to effectively navigate the digital financial terrain and utilize mobile banking applications or digital payment platforms. This challenge requires multi-stakeholder collaboration to facilitate comprehensive financial education programs and user interface designs that prioritize simplicity and accessibility over sophistication functionality. So we expect, and I'm challenging here the innovators, these innovations must also be in our vernacular languages. If my grandmother in the rural area is to understand what we are doing, probably English should not be the only language in our technology. Successful digital transformation initiatives must include robust customer education components that build confidence and competence in digital financial tools. Another apparent challenge to innovation is poor internet connectivity. And I am glad that today we gather in here with providers of internet services so that together we can map a way forward to ensure that increased uptake and usage of microfinance services is not hampered by lack of internet connectivity. Cybersecurity risks, including breaches to client data information and protection. Governor touched on this. Identity theft, malware, ransomware attacks, and so on, to mention a few, have a potentially devastating impact on trust and confidence issues and will slow down the uptake of technology by the consuming public. In this regard, there is a need for the microfinance industry to develop the necessary operational, technical, and financial capabilities to successfully implement digital solutions. In Zimbabwe, we have a Cyber and Data Protection Act, Chapter 12.07 of 2022, administered by the Postal and Telecommunications Regulatory Authority of Zimbabwe, and is aimed at protecting the private data of internet users and addresses cybersecurity and cybercrime. Ladies and gentlemen, just to highlight the opportunities brought in by innovation, allow me to highlight a few statistics from our Zimbabwe 2022 FinScope consumer surveys, which supports the importance of digitalization in the microfinance industry. The FinScope survey indicated that less than 5% of the rural populace in Zimbabwe takes less than 30 minutes to access bank branches or ATMs, the brick and mortar ones, which means very few of the excluded people can access us if we remain in brick and mortar. However, 93% of adults had access to a mobile phone, and 63% had registered mobile money accounts. Zimbabwe registered a significant rise in active mobile subscribers from about 5 million in 2015 to 10 million in 2025, from a population of around 16 million. So you can see the big opportunity we have to utilize if we just go for digital transformation in delivering our financial services. According to the report by the Global System for Mobile Communications Association, GSMI, on the State of Industry Report on Mobile Money 2025, Sub-Saharan Africa saw a surge in digital financial services adoption with over 1 billion registered accounts in 2024, doubling the number from 2020 and exceeding earlier focus. The Africa region accounts for more than 2/3 of global mobile money accounts, making it the world's largest market. Thus, the potential for financial inclusion to reach unprecedented levels lies in bridging together financial services and innovation. Let me move to the last portion of my speech. What are we then saying? What is the call to action? As we leave this summit after all our discussions, what are we going to do? Ladies and gentlemen, digitalization presents unparalleled opportunities for innovation, collaboration, and the development of new business models. And I want to emphasize to you microfinance players, new business models that can serve previously unreachable populations while maintaining commercial viability. The espousal of digital microfinance calls for multi-sectoral approaches, including the digital infrastructure expansion, regulations that support innovation, as Governor said, not barring innovation. Deliberate digital financial literacy initiatives are needed, and collaboration of the various stakeholders, including government, private sector, the fintech companies, the microfinance sector, and regulatory authorities. Number 3, call to action. Given the potential cybersecurity risks emanating from digitalization, our regulatory frameworks for digitalization of microfinance should of necessity incorporate consumer protection policies, striking a balance between encouraging innovation and consumer protection. Number 4, call to action. In most countries, the legal and regulatory frameworks for digital financial services trail behind innovations in the sector, resulting in inconsistencies and regulatory gaps, which in turn can create uncertainty for the microfinance providers seeking to implement new technologies. As a solution to this gap and as part of encouraging innovation, but being mindful of consumer protection issues, regulatory sandboxes and collaborative policy development initiatives are emerging as effective mechanisms for allowing innovation while maintaining appropriate consumer protection and systematic stability. I'm pleased that in Zimbabwe, we have a regulatory sandbox at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, just like Namibia. And the government has established many innovation hubs in our tertiary institutions to facilitate safe adoption of innovations. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, let me say the future is digital. The needs of the consuming public are evolving, and microfinance must evolve to meet the needs of the consumers of financial services. Important to note is that technology on its own will not shape the future of microfinance. It is therefore imperative that as policymakers, regulators, leaders, players in the financial services sector and fintech sector, we put our heads together to define and harness the power of technology to build a sustainable, accessible, and inclusive digital financial ecosystem that will contribute towards the economic development and attainment of our national development aspirations, leaving no one and no place behind. Distinguished guests, with digitalization, we are witnessing not merely a technological revolution, but a rebirth of a financial landscape for millions of our underserved populations across Africa and beyond, while building a sustainable, profitable microfinance industry. As we leave the summit, let us carry with us not only the technical knowledge and strategic insights we would have shared, but also a renewed commitment to leveraging digital technologies for an inclusive and sustainable microfinance industry. The tools are in our hands, the market demand is evident, and the regulatory environment is increasingly supportive. Let us go and build the digital microfinance ecosystem that will serve as a foundation for inclusive economic growth across Africa and around the world. I wish you all fruitful deliberations during the summit, and at this moment, it is my singular honor and privilege to declare the third Microfinance Technology Summit officially opened. Tatenda. Siyabonga. Asante sana. I thank you.